There are a lot of markets that people can invest in. The most common, obviously, being the stock market. It's a household name and it can drastically change people's lives. The common misconception with cryptocurrency is that it is not backed by anything and is therefore destined to fail. However, that is not the case. Warren Buffett, a successful stock trader on the stock market, stated that cryptocurrencies basically have no value. The only thing you can do with it is sell it to someone else. Well, he basically just described money, right? Every time we make a transaction, we're just giving someone money, and we're selling our money to someone else in return for a good. It's the same concept with cryptocurrency. Mr. Buffett has every right to be skeptical, but cryptocurrency may very well be the future, and I'm going to tell you why. So, when people hear cryptocurrency, most of them think of Bitcoin and how it is used on the dark web. However, we've come a long way since Bitcoin's launch in 2009. The dark web is no joke. It is still around today and manages to ship anything to anyone, anywhere in the world, which is pretty amazing. The way people get around it is by using Bitcoin, which makes them seem anonymous. All transactions are recorded on a ledger called the blockchain. However, the names are instead 256-bit keys that are almost impossible to crack. Most, if not all, drugs sold today are originate from the dark web. So if you trace it back to the source, they would all come from the dark web. In high school, kids usually get it from a dealer, who gets it from their dealer, who gets it from the dark web. This affects us and the kids' futures. Someone who might have had potential to do and be great things is now hooked on drugs and could be ruined for the rest of their lives. As dark as it seems, for years before the internet, drugs were sold with cash. Um, so when you look at something like cryptocurrency, you gotta make sure that the good outweighs the bad. Notice how I only talked about Bitcoin when I was talking about the problem. This is because Bitcoin is only one of the coins, and it is used for the majority of dark web purchases. Coins such as Ripple, which is abbreviated XRP, and Binance Coin, which is abbreviated BNB, could lead us into a bright future in cryptocurrency. Ripple was created with the goal to help bank transactions by making cross-border payments in real time. So if anyone knows about cross-border international bank transfers, it usually takes a little bit. I mean, I know when I deposit a check, it could take 5 days depending on how big the check is. So the goal of Ripple is to minimize its time. By converting into this coin, you can send it quicker and receive it quicker. This is a very unique coin because unlike Bitcoin, which is slow and requires a lot of computer power to create and has costly fees, Ripple is pre-mined. So it takes less computer power and quicker and has smaller fees. So when I said pre-mined, I'm going to talk about mining. It's not actual mining. This type of mining involves a GPU, graphical processing unit, and a central processing unit, the CPU, to solve complex equations that complete a hash. Now, once you complete a certain number of hashes, or once they are solved, the coin is, quote, mined. So you successfully created the coin. And the people who participated in this are given a small reward. So you can't do it too well with Bitcoin now because of how big it's gotten. But with new coins and smaller coins, it basically depends on how complex the code is. But you can actually do this from your home, which is really incredible. Binance Coin is another example. It is used by a program called Binance. I will talk about that in a couple minutes. And is their internal coin that, if used, reduces fees for their website. The idea, even though this is only for one program, could be implemented on so many different platforms and reduce fees, give discounts simply by using their digital personal currency. Good example of this would be if you look at Apple. Obviously, most people stream now, but if you still do buy music or even apps, because some apps are very popular that you need to buy, what they could do is they could offer you a song for 49 cents if you use Apple Coin instead of using United States dollar, because I'm sure Apple would actually get a bonus if you use their coin. If you look at XRP Ripple, it's already a successful coin. It's used by 300 plus financial institutions and is constantly growing. A few examples of this would be Santander Bank, American Express, and PNC. They all use Ripple now. You can go on their website and use it. It's really incredible. And Binance Coin, it was already made by a company that needed it. So Binance, uh, at its core, is a large cryptocurrency trading platform. It's one of the largest in the world. And having their own coin on it already, it just gives it free advertising. Being so popular, if they want to advertise something as their coin, it's basically free for them. So I have personally used Binance, so I know how this works. When you actually go to buy new coins, say I wanted to buy a portion of Bitcoin, I can use their coin, the Binance coin, to reduce the fees because, as I said earlier, Bitcoin has really big fees. So I can use this, and it actually reduces the fees of buying Bitcoin, which is really helpful. It saves you money, and they make money, so it's a win-win. With just these two coins, it is clear that the future of cryptocurrency is possible. Instead of cash only being used as a medium, the whole goal of cryptocurrency is to improve something or solve something. So they have done these things called forks, which is really interesting, which introduces a new cryptocurrency every time they do this. So Bitcoin has done it several times. They have done it recently. I don't know all the names of the Bitcoins, but I know that Bitcoin Cash is one of them. Bitcoin Classic is another one. If you take a look at Bitcoin Cash, it's actually a branch off, a fork off of Bitcoin. So what happens when you fork a coin is you actually improve the blockchain, and while doing that, it splits it off and makes two. So if I had, let's say I had one Bitcoin, I'm not going to use the value of the Bitcoin because it's constantly changing, but if I had one Bitcoin and they fork it off, it then gives me a portion of the Bitcoin Cash, which is really cool. So I get free money and the chain is improved. It's really interesting. So, like, sorry, like most new things, people are going to think of a way to try and scam the system. It's very common for people always trying to think of a way to scam the system. It's always Ponzi schemes all the time. There was one coin where there was an instance of a Ponzi scheme and it got shut down. So I'm saying this because it is important to be careful when investing. Do your research before buying into a coin and make sure there is a history of a coin. Obviously, if you can't find anything on the coin, I don't know why you would invest in it in the first place. Um, if you look at Bitcoin, Ethereum's Litecoin, most of these coins are 3 years old and at least 3 years old. That's a good starting point. Make sure there's some history in the coin. If it's old and has been around for a while, it's very improbable that it is going to be a scam and you have a good opportunity there. So if we go back and look at Warren Buffett, who I mentioned at the beginning of this, he clearly did not do his research or he just didn't care because he already made his money. So he's got a point. He most likely was saying that he only saw the negatives in Bitcoin and not the other cryptocurrencies. So I'll give him that. But something that I always see is that people always say, let's say it's 2025 and there's a starter company, we'll call it Tesla. Obviously, Tesla's a company, but they wish they really invested in it when it was a startup company versus now when it's huge and they could have made $1 million and all this stuff. Now, I'm not saying do that, but this could be one of those chances that you don't get often to invest in something that could be big. I'm not saying put all of your money into the basket. I'm just saying that maybe $100, take a risk. You never know what might happen. It could obviously go down to $80 or $50. It is a very volatile market, just like the stock market, but there's only one way to find out. So with that being said, I will see you guys in 5 years.